Tim Drake is in for one of the roughest nights of his life. But when the Dark Knight intervenes, will this problem go from bad to worse? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we open up this brand new issue, Matt Fraction is sure to kick in the wholesome turbos right away as we see a flashback to the day that Bruce actually taught Tim to drive. Robin assumed that he was going to get to learn how to drive the Batmobile, or Batmo as he keeps insisting on calling it, but instead he's shocked to discover that Bruce actually has an old beater pickup truck for him to try out. A fact of which Damian, who is watching on, finds absolutely hilarious, even spraying him with the hose in a very brotherly kind of way. More on this in a minute. Back in the present, we see Robin break up a truck robbery. He assumes that a robbery this daring, wherein the driver was shot, they must have been stealing something good. Drugs, weapons, gold. But ultimately, Robin is shocked and even saddened to discover that this guy was actually just stealing baby formula for his hungry kid. Before Tim can decide what to do next, though, the cops end up showing up. In fact, you'll remember this scene as the one that actually ended the first issue. The bigger cop is all sorts of aggro, and the second the thief ends up bolting down the alley, he decides to shoot him in the back, killing him right then and there on the spot. Obviously, Robin is absolutely furious to see a man gunned down in front of him by another man who is supposed to be upholding the law. The cop is full of excuses, saying that he was well within his right to do what he did, and if Tim doesn't come along with him right now, he's going to shoot him as well. Robin scurries up the alley, making use of his bat boots. In fact, a fun little aspect of this issue is we actually see several of Batman and Robin's gadgets get the spotlight, only for him to end up catching a stray bullet in the side anyway. Yeah, this is most definitely not the boy wonder's night. But Robin has always been good about rallying from setbacks. In the flashback, we see that Tim actually totally ended up whiffing his first driving test. He just got two in his head. Started worrying about every variable and eventuality, specifically if there may come a day when Batman is too hurt to drive and Robin would need to take the wheel. Bruce is fatherly and understanding, saying that Tim will get it next time. He even defends Tim when Damian starts making fun of him. Wow, Damian is a real ball buster in this one. Now, if it wasn't bad enough that those cops shot Robin, they're not done with him yet. They decide that to really punish him for getting in their way is to throw him in the back of the police van, cuffed and bleeding, in hopes that all of the other criminals there will want to kick Robin's head in. Basically doing their job for them. In fact, they do this all the time. They even have a word for it: rough riding. Why on earth would the cops be doing this, you might be wondering to yourself? Well, as the main one explains, he's currently trying to suck up to Vandal Savage and his anti-superhero agenda. It's like, hey, why's the commish gotta bring in a bunch of blood money mercenaries to abuse and oppress the community? Doesn't he know us beat cops have been doing that for years? Now, despite being at a major disadvantage, Robin actually ends up rallying and winning the fight in spectacular fashion. It's actually a really creative action scene. As the vehicle hits potholes and takes sharp turns, the flow of the fight itself ends up changing. My favorite panel by far, though, is Tim taking a victory lap after winning the day and breaking his own cuffs like they were nothing. Oh yeah, that's some real I'm not locked in here with you guys, you're locked in here with me kind of thing. Now hey, I know what you might be thinking, does Batman show up in this comic called Batman? Well yes, he absolutely does. He's been following Tim from afar and manages to take out the police vehicle using bat spike strips. Bruce liberates Robin from the back and quickly gets up to speed on everything that these dirty cops have been up to. Vargas, the chubby cop, pretty much knows he's entirely screwed now and makes the very ill-informed choice to pull a gun on Batman. His partner, who up until now has been completely a-okay with this kind of bastardy behavior, actually ends up growing a spine for a split second, saying, hey, you can't pull a gun on Batman, we're all on the same side, right? Only for Batman to completely shut this guy down too by saying, when you kill civilians and abuse your power, we are most definitely not on the same side. The standoff only grows more and more heated until eventually Vargas and his partner end up firing on each other. Well geez, now you know it's a comic book fantasy because an officer actually went out of their way to break the blue wall of silence and inaction. Now Crockett and Tubby here might not be good guys, but Batman still doesn't want any more blood to be shed, and as such actually puts himself between the two. Despite the Dark Knight's best effort though, both cops end up getting shot anyway. Robin, in a very heroic showing of no ill will, actually goes out of his way to try and bandage up the partner until the EMTs get there. Sadly though, Officer Vargas isn't done being an absolute piece of human garbage yet, as he shoots Batman in the head again while while his back was turned. God damn, how is it in a city filled with serial killer clowns, mad scientists, and eldritch abominations, Officer Vargas is somehow the worst? Thankfully, the bat cowl is armored, but not so armored that Bruce isn't bleeding and suffering from a terrible concussion, meaning that the story finally comes full circle, with the scenario Robin has been fearing since the first day he tried to learn to drive, the day wherein he would have to drive the Batmobile. In the Boy Wonder's defense, it's not like Batman made it easy. The Batmobile has 13 gears, some are normal, 2 are only meant to be used in the event of a crisis, and then there's a secret 13th gear that only Batman knows about. And because this is Matt Fraction, I have to wonder, is that just a funny joke, or is that actively planting the seed for something we're gonna see later? As the dynamic duo makes their way back to Pennyworth Manor, the news is already starting to pick up on the shootout that just took place. It seems that one of the cops, and we're not exactly sure which one, succumbed to his injuries, and Commissioner Vandal Savage is using this as the smoking gun he's been waiting for, to completely turn the GCPD against Batman and Robin, making them officially public enemies #1. And so that was Batman issue #2, everybody, and I'm happy to say the first issue was not a fluke, as Matt Fraction manages to deliver another really fun story. Apparently, moving forward, this more one-and-done, self-contained, episodic approach is going to be the new norm, and honestly, I'm super okay with that. Long arcs and reading for the trade is perfectly good and fine, but I feel like doing a really solid one-and-done story with a beginning, middle, and end is starting to become a dying art form. I like this issue too because even though it's a Batman book, it's nice that Tim is finally getting some love and attention. I feel like lots of Batman writers from a lot of previous runs made some very lofty claims about using Robin, especially Tim Moore, only for it to not really come to pass at a point. But here, not only does he get the spotlight, but he uses it to remind the readers why he's so damn cool and so much fun to follow. Much like the first issue too, this one didn't skimp on socio-political commentary. I had mentioned in the first issue I really like that Fraction went out of his way to showcase that Batman is more of a social worker than a cop. And this issue goes even further to build the divide between Batman and the rest of the GCPD, which should be kind of interesting now when we stop and remember that Jim Gordon, one of his oldest friends and allies, is a uniformed cop again. Yeah, we've certainly been down this road before in other eras where Batman has a more hands-off, more antagonistic relationship with the police, but I'm sure Fraction will find some new and interesting dimensions to cover in this very well-worn Batman status quo. Overall, I would feel comfortable giving this one another well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. Good stuff, cannot wait to see where they go from here. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.